South Africans all know about the concept of the anti-apartheid struggle and are familiar with it being fought in the townships and Robben Island. But what about the struggle in the suburbs?
We're well aware of the great struggle figures, the Tambos, the Sisulus, the Mandelas, but there was a struggle in the suburbs that was happening at the same time, and they were great friends with many of those.
From the 1950s, Johannesburg's Norwood suburb and surrounds had a very high concentration of white, mainly Jewish people who were determined to fight the apartheid system from within white suburbia.
We were living amongst whites and were very conscious of the small family we had in this area. People who thought like my parents did, like we all did. But for the rest, we were pariahs. You know, people didn't want to have anything to do with the Hamels, with the Weinbergs. We were known as Kafferputties.
The apartheid government was known to have a fierce hatred for communism, and what made these suburban rebels even more remarkable is not only were they fighting the system from within, but that many of them were communists as well.
There's a greater significance to the area in that it was known by the security branch as Red Square because of the concentration of Communist Party members in this area.
Britt McDougall, who is passionate about the area's rich history, has started an anti-apartheid tour of Norwood and surrounding areas.
I'm passionate about the history of the area and about Johannesburg in general, and what I've tried to do is through my research and through publication on various sites is to awaken people's interest in what the area was and is, and to encourage them to be proud of it. I think that's really important.
The tour takes you from Mahatma Gandhi's house to Helen Joseph's, past the Hamels, the Weinbergs, Bram Fisher's house, and then finally past Nelson Mandela's house in Houghton.
Well, I think that there's huge potential for cultural tourism in Johannesburg, and I mean this is just one aspect of it, but if you think about the route that we're doing today, Satyagraha House to Nelson Mandela, and if you think about the concentration of sites over here, it doesn't need to be tour guide led. I mean, I think that is fantastic too. It could be self-guided tours, so it'd be wonderful to be able to publish this information that would enable people to do this.
Barbara Hamel, whose parents were members of the South African Communist Party, was only a teenager when ANC luminaries such as Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and Nelson Mandela used to visit her house.
Across the road from us, of course, lived Ellie Weinberg, the photographer, and his family. And Ellie took the photographs of Winnie and Nelson in their wedding outfits in this house. That is me. That is Rusty and Hilda Bernstein's daughter, Tony. That's Ruth Mumpati. That, of course, is Nelson. Winnie, that is my father. This is Nelson's older sister. I'm afraid I don't know who these two women are, and that was Winnie's sister.
And you forgot your mom.
Oh, and my mother, who made Winnie's dress.
The story of Norwood and its covert fight against oppression reminds us all that the battle against apartheid was fought on many fronts. And as we celebrate 20 years of democracy, it's imperative that we remember the important contribution white South Africans played in the anti-apartheid struggle.